3 years ago when I started scalping, I thought the most important thing I needed was a strategy, but I didn't know that I was about to go through many losses of thousands of dollars. And all these losses pretty much was because I was making the same mistakes over and over again. I would say it took me about 2 solid years of really overcoming these issues, putting everything together, and finally realizing that, okay, these are the issues that really delayed the process for me. And if I was able to avoid these issues, I would have been successful at trading a lot quicker. So in this video, we're going to talk about the 5 mistakes that really lost me a lot of money and the rules I'm following now to make sure that these never repeat themselves. And these rules will also allow you to not make the same mistakes that I did, so you can get profitable much quicker. The first mistake was trading every single session. Now, it seems like in trading, if you have a strategy that does well, then you can just trade any session, anytime, same system, and you're gonna make money. As much as that makes sense, in trading, it doesn't make any sense at all, because you realize that different sessions is almost like different markets. Everything all moves differently, I'll be honest with you. So if you're trading something like gold in Asia session is not the same thing as gold during New York session. Nor is it the same thing as gold in London session, because in some sessions, it could be consolidating, in some sessions, it might actually start pumping. So with knowing that in mind, it's really important that backtesting every session is important. You can't just backtest New York and apply that same thing in London session. And why this is important is, imagine this. In New York session, the volume of NASDAQ is a lot larger, right? If you're trading the NASDAQ, there's a lot more volume, right? So you might be able to catch 1-to-1s, 1-to-2s, 1-to-3s a lot quicker. However, if you're trading NASDAQ now in London session, it's not the same energy, right? The stop loss is going to be a lot tighter. So if you're trading Forex, you need to understand that, first of all, you're going to be using a larger lot size, number one. Price might also not move as much before it starts retracing. However, if you're trading NQ after New York opening, then price can start dumping in one direction for a very long time. So if your system is to get 1-to-3s, now you might not be able to get those 1-to-3s in London session. However, if you switch sessions, you might realize that, hold on a minute, in New York session now those 1-to-3s are hitting, but in Asia session it's just not hitting. So your strategy might not be the issue, the session you're trading might be the problem to why it's not working. So you want to backtest that across the board in every single session to see which one it works best in. Before we get into how I focus too much on my entries instead of my exits, let's talk about the sponsor of this video, which is Aqua Funded. Before I became profitable, I lost a lot of money because I was trading my own personal account. But if you want to avoid this, then you can trade prop funds. Prop funds are basically a way where you spend a lot less. If you're spending, let's say $500, then you'll be able to get a 100K account, for example. With that 100K account, if you make 1%, 2%, 5% profit, you could be getting something like 5K, all from spending $500. However, if you're doing this to your personal account, if you lose 5K, you lose the entire 5K. This is super important. So this is going to be a way for you to not lose as much money. Now, they allow you to get funded from $2,500 all the way to 400K. So imagine the possibilities on how much you can make. And why do I like this? Now, Aqua Funded gives you the best chance of actually getting funded because they give you unlimited time to actually pass these challenges. No longer do you have to pass these challenges in 30 days. You can take as much time as possible, so that means there's literally no rush. Their profit split is extremely good as well. You can literally make a 90% profit split. So when you actually reach, let's say 5% for withdrawal, they'll only take 10% of that and you can keep 90%. And with the upgraded accounts, you can actually make this 100%, so even better. They also have instant funded accounts, which allows you to get funded right away. So the moment you're in profit, you can ask for a withdrawal, bam. So if that suits you, then you can also check that out. And the great thing is that they've already done 4.5 million in payouts already. As soon as you pass the challenge, you hit the profit target, then you can be sure that they will pay you out as well to continue to add upon this 4.7 million payouts that they've already done. And not only that, but if they don't pay you in 24 hours, they're literally guaranteed to put $1,000 on top of whatever you have requested. So they're extremely confident. Now, I mentioned earlier at the start of the video that $500, that's roughly $500 for a 100K account, but you guys can get this cheaper because I was able to work with them to get you guys a discount for your next challenge. For the next 100 users, if you use the code Sully, you can get 50% off on your next challenge. Remember to use the code Sully. You click on the first link in the description of this video, and good luck on your next challenge, and thanks to Aqua Funded for sponsoring this video. In trading, it's so easy to focus on how you want to enter, to avoiding fake outs, to trying to make sure that when you enter, it's the perfect entry, sniper entry. You always hear entry. And I fall into that trap as well because you realize that the game is not over once you enter the trade. Once you're in the trade now, exit is key. How you leave the trade is going to be super important. When you leave the trade is super important. Do you identify things that might make price pull back? Do you identify things that might just make the whole trade turn around? I only start to optimize my exits because you might realize, for example, you backtest a lot, you even live trade, the trade always goes in your direction. However, because you don't know when you're leaving, or you don't know the best times to leave, you don't know the best R to go for, you don't read price action, maybe you just focus on R entirely, but you always seem to lose the trade just because you don't know when to leave. So focus on when to leave the trade just as much as when you enter the trade. Those two are super important. Do not neglect your exits, because your exits are key. Do you take out the full percentage or do you not? Do you take out half and then move to break even? All these stuff matters. For me, in my case, I personally prefer to close most of the position, if not all the positions that I do have open, because that just works best for me, and I go for a smaller risk reward anyway, so it wouldn't make sense to really go for partials that much unless I'm going for like a 1 to 2, 1 to 3 or higher. But for 1-to-1s, most cases just close the whole position. That's what I do personally, but that's because I know that this works best overall based on the data that I've gathered. Next was obsessing over win rate. I would say about 6 months ago now, I moved away from obsessing over win rate because I then realized, hold on a minute, there's something known as profit factor. Now your profit factor is essential because this is really the real secret to how you remain profitable. Profit factor is basically just your overall amount won minus your overall amount lost. Now you can increase your profit factor in several ways, right? If you have a profit factor of 2, that just means that you've made double how much you've lost. In my strategy, where I'm mostly going for 1-to-1s, now I can increase my profit factor by reducing my losses. This is by closing early and all that stuff, knowing basically how to avoid taking a full loss, or knowing when to take slightly more instead of 1-to-1. So if I can, those trades where I take slightly more, maybe I'll go for 1-to-2 depending on the position, depending on what's going on in the trade. Now this overall will compound and increase my overall profit factor. And of course, having a good win rate as well would make your profit factor a lot higher, because when you do win, you're winning often, and when you lose, you don't lose often, so overall your profit should be larger. So when you really focus on profit factor itself, you realize that, hold on a minute, this is when you're really cooking. So you don't want to focus too much on win rate. As a beginner trader, you just want to find that strategy with a 90% win rate, 80% win rate, because you see on social media that guys are flexing 90%, 8%, which most of it is cap, I'll be honest, but that's not really what matters. Honestly, I'll be real, as long as you're making money, don't let anyone's strategy get into your head. As long as you're making money, that's all that matters. For the fourth, we have revenge trading after a loss. This one is typical, and I had to keep it plain and simple. Revenge trading is going to kill you. Revenge trading is going to be the number one reason that's going to absolutely keep you at the beginning, right? You seem like, it's almost like sin. You've been making money over and over and over. You're on like a 10-win streak, but you revenge trade once, it takes you all the way back down, and you can lose all that profit like this in one day. Revenge trading is extremely, extremely important to stay away from. If you need to overcome that, until you overcome that, trust me, you will just not be profitable. Why? Because again, it is one thing that can completely delete all your profit. I like to be completely transparent with you guys, and my largest loss I've taken in a day was about 6K. Now this only happened because of revenge trading, right? Say I made 6K over 3 months because of that one silly mistake, especially because my account grew and I had a bigger account. This is my own money, not prop firm. As a result of that, 6K loss in a day is gonna delete months of profit, right? Think about it. It's extremely dangerous. So you wanna be extremely careful. This is why prop firms, in fact, is quite good, because if you revenge trade and stuff, the worst case scenario, you lose the prop firm and you have to get another one. But if it's a personal account, this is dangerous. So you need to really have locked in this psychology. But at the end of the day, you learn from these stuff and you make money eventually. But just make sure you're extremely careful with revenge trading. This is one thing that kept me delayed for a very, very, very long time, because you have to overcome that revenge trade. Otherwise, you realize that your overall P&L is just not growing, because revenge trade will delete a lot of your profits no matter how long it's been. And one of the best ways I honestly recommend doing this is by closing the charts. Just get off it. It's the best thing you can do. I've tried all other methods out there, but the best thing that works every time is the moment I make money in a day, bam, I'm off the charts, I'm closing, I'm not looking at it, because if you look at it, you will see another opportunity and you'll be tempted to take it. So best thing is close the charts. Trust me, get off the charts and do something else. Have something else to do, because the more you're on the charts, the more setups you're gonna see and you're gonna want to take them. Trust me, the best thing you can do is get off the charts. I've told you guys 3 times now, so make sure you do it, or you will see that the next time you're on the charts and you didn't listen to this instruction, you're gonna end up losing money and you're gonna say, Sully told me so. Now, taking losses is one thing, but when you're taking losses and you have a broker that isn't really on your side, that's when you realize that slippage and commissions starts to eat. I'm a scalper, and sometimes I'm scalping even the 1-minute chart. So this means that if you're trying to take, let's say even Forex pairs, let's say GE on the M1, your commissions is high. This is because you have to use a higher lot size to quickly make that same amount in a short amount of pips, right? Or if you're trading futures, then ticks, but your commissions are super high. It's ridiculous. So commissions will eat a lot into your profit, and then when you have slippage as well, then this is going to be a lot a lot worse, because slippage has now required you to risk more, and now you have to make up for the small loss as well from the slippage, and then commission is going to eat. So you realize that overall the whole thing is costing like 20% of your profit, which is high, incredibly high. So the broker you use is so important. This is why it took me a while to really find a broker to stick with, and now that I've found one, I'm using that broker all day every day, because I literally have perfect entry every time. I've not found a broker that beats it. Perfect entry every time. And the cheat code, guys, listen to this. The cheat code is when you're trading indices, there's usually no commission. So something like gold, very tiny commission. When you're trading things like Nasdaq and stuff, no commission at all. So I'm telling you, I'm literally trading on FX with no spreads, no commissions. It's such a cheat code, but that's when I realized now I'm living the best life. That's been the best thing I'm able to do. Finding that broker has been great and fantastic. But trust me, this is one that you want to look into, especially if you're a scalper. You want to minimize commissions and spreads. Once you can do that, you can really make a lot more money, because you don't realize how much these commissions and spreads actually eat into your profit. You don't realize until you add up the whole thing in total. But then you realize that you're making, let's say, 5 to 7% in a month, but commissions alone is taking 3%. That's a lot. And when you lose, it's even worse, because you still get charged commissions on top of your loss. So your loss are just bigger losses as well. It's the worst thing in the world. But these are the things that really set me back from my trading journey. And once I was able to figure these out, I'm able to now avoid them and make sure I'm trading in the best conditions, the best way possible. I hope this was useful. Be sure to check out Aqua Funded, first link in the description of this video. Click on this next video. YouTube recommends that's going to be very useful for you. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.